There's a group of taxi drivers in London and scientists studied their brains. What they found was disturbing. These guys had a physically larger brain region than most people on Earth. Not because they were born gifted. Not because of genetics. Because of what they did every single day. Scientists have a name for what happened to those drivers' brains. And it's happening inside yours right now. Quick answer first, because you deserve it. Neuroplasticity is your brain's ability to physically change and rewire itself based on what you do, think, and experience for your entire life. Not just when you're a kid. Not just during school. Your whole life. That's the headline. But here's the part most videos skip over. One of the types of neuroplasticity can actually work against you. And there's a good chance you're triggering it every single day without realizing it. We're going to get to that. Keep watching. If you're new here, welcome. We make brain science simple and actually useful. Today, neuroplasticity, what it is, how it works, and how to use it. Let's go. What exactly is neuroplasticity? Let's start with the basics. The word neuroplasticity breaks down simply. Neuro means brain and nerve cells. Plastic means moldable, changeable. For most of the 1900s, scientists believed the brain was basically locked in after childhood. Like hardware. Built once. Done. Then research started demolishing that idea fast. Stroke patients were recovering abilities that doctors said were gone permanently. Blind people were developing sharper hearing because their brain was reassigning space. And those London taxi drivers? They had to memorize over 25,000 streets to pass their licensing exam. When researchers scanned their brains, the memory region, the hippocampus, was measurably larger than in people with regular jobs. The brain had grown to meet the demand placed on it. Here's the line I want you to remember. Your brain is not hardwired. It is live-wired. It is changing right now. The question is, what is it changing into? The types of neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity isn't one single thing. It works in different ways for different situations. Let me walk you through the main types, and I promise, these aren't just definitions. Each one has a direct impact on your actual life. Type 1, Synaptic plasticity. Neurons that fire together, wire together. Every time you learn something, your brain cells, called neurons, send signals to each other across tiny connection points called synapses. The first time you try something new, those connections are weak and slow. Like walking through tall grass with no path. But every time you repeat that action, that thought, that habit, the connection gets stronger. Faster. More automatic. The trail through the grass gets worn in. That's why your morning routine eventually takes zero mental effort. That's why a musician's fingers seem to know where to go. Repetition is literally the construction crew of the brain. The more you do it, the more permanent it becomes. Now here's a moment I want you to sit with for a second. Think about something you do every single day on autopilot. Scroll your phone first thing in the morning? Jump straight to stress when something goes wrong? That path in the grass? It is well worn. Your brain built a highway there because you kept walking it. The same process that builds a great skill builds a bad habit. That's the type of neuroplasticity that can work against you. But it also means you can build a different road. Okay. Next type. Type 2, structural plasticity. Your brain literally changes its shape. This one surprises people every time. Your brain doesn't just change its connections, it physically changes its structure. New neurons can grow. Existing regions can expand or shrink. Brain areas can even shift what they're responsible for. String instrument musicians, violinists, cellists develop a larger brain area dedicated to the fingers of their left hand. You can see it on a brain scan. And here's the one that gives me chills. When people leave behind a destructive habit, a toxic relationship, chronic stress, substance abuse, the brain regions that were damaged by that behavior can begin to physically recover. They start to rebuild. Your brain is not just changeable. It is resilient in ways science is still discovering. And if that's what the brain can do to itself structurally, wait until you hear what it can do when part of it is damaged. Type 3, functional plasticity. When one area takes over for another. This type is honestly kind of miraculous. Functional plasticity is when your brain reassigns a job from one region to a completely different region, usually after damage or injury. Real example. A stroke damages the speech center of someone's brain. Doctors say communication will be limited. Possibly permanently. But over weeks and months of therapy, something remarkable happens. Think of it like a company where the best employee suddenly quits. No warning. Just gone. A lesser team shuts down. But a great team? Somebody steps up. Someone unexpected learns the job. The work gets done differently, but it gets done. That's what the brain does. A different region quietly steps in, learns the function, and takes over the shift. That's why stroke rehabilitation works. That's why people recover from brain injuries that seem unrevivable. The brain finds a way. Type 4, experience-dependent plasticity. Your life is writing your brain's code. This is the type I want you to take home with you today. Because this one is about your life. Right now. Experience-dependent plasticity means your brain is being molded every single day by the experiences you choose and the ones you don't. Not in a metaphorical, inspirational poster kind of way. Literally. Physically. Measurably. The stress you carry versus the stress you learn to release. The skills you practice or the ones you keep saying you'll start someday. The thoughts you repeat on loop: I'm not smart enough. This is too hard. I can't change. Those are paths being carved deeper into your brain every time you think them. And this is where I want to be honest with you. I used to replay the same anxious thought patterns for years. Same fears. Same doubts. Same self-talk. I didn't know I was literally reinforcing the wiring that made those thoughts automatic. When I learned this, it wasn't just interesting. It was urgent. Because it meant every day I wasn't building new patterns, I was just strengthening the old ones by default. You are always shaping your brain. The only question is, are you doing it on purpose? Type 5, homeostatic plasticity. Your brain's built-in thermostat. Last one, and I'll keep this one tight because it works mostly behind the scenes. Homeostatic plasticity is your brain's self-regulation system. When neurons are firing too much for too long, the brain dials them back to prevent overload. When they're not getting enough activity, it turns them up. A thermostat. Keeping your whole nervous system from swinging to extremes. It's why consistent habits beat intense bursts. You can't grind yourself into the ground for 2 weeks and expect your brain to thrive. The brain needs rhythm, regularity, balance. Small, repeated, consistent. That is what neuroplasticity rewards. So we've talked about taxi drivers with bigger brains. We've talked about trails turning into highways. We've talked about brains that quietly rebuild after damage, finding a way when the obvious path is gone. And if you're sitting there thinking, "That's cool, but my situation is different. I'm too far gone. Too old. Too stuck in my ways." I need you to think about those cab drivers one more time. They didn't wake up one day with a bigger hippocampus. They showed up. They learned one street. Then another. Then another. And their brain quietly, invisibly, without any fanfare, grew to meet what was being asked of it. The taxi driver's brain didn't grow in one dramatic day. It grew in thousands of ordinary ones. You have more ordinary days ahead of you. Use them. All right, if this hit different than what you expected today, do me a quick favor. Hit like it takes 1 second and genuinely helps more people find this. Subscribe and hit the bell. We break down brain science every week in a way that's actually useful for real life. Leave a comment below. What's one habit or thought pattern you want to rewire in your own brain? Drop it below. And if someone in your life is going through something hard and needs to hear that their brain can still change, send them this. It might land at exactly the right moment. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.